What's the story, Morning Glory? What's the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of 90 Day Fiance The Other Way, Season 7, Episode 4, Bon Beni. Let's get into Luke and Madeline. So, first we see Madeline's mother. Madeline's mother comes into her salon to get her nails done, and Madeline gives us a very brief history of her childhood and what type of relationship her and her mother have. So, evidently, her mother really wasn't there for her when she was growing up. Now, all of this stuff she's told us before in a previous episode. I think Madeline ran away from home at 16 or something. Up until that point, she was raised by, I think, her grandmother. I think her mom was gone a lot due to working, I think. So her and her mom really weren't that close. Her mother wasn't really a big part of her life. So she says it's kind of weird now that her mom is back in her life, but things are a lot better now than the way they used to be. So that's good. So while she's doing her mother's nails, Luke walks in. And remember, Luke is surprising her by arriving in Colombia a day or two early, but he has no choice but to surprise her because I think she said she had him blocked. So he had no way to communicate with her to let her know that he was coming in early. So he doesn't have any other option but to surprise her. So he walks in with a bouquet of flowers. Initially, she acts like she's not phased, but then she is really happy to see him. She gets up, she jumps into his arms, they hug, they kiss, and she is happy to see him. So she tells him that later on she has a meeting with the wedding planner to go over the budget, and he's not looking forward to it because he knows that there's been some shenanigans going on with the money that he's been sending her for the wedding. So later on that night, the wedding planner comes over. They're sitting at the table. The wedding planner is talking about what's already been done and what is yet to be done and what needs to be paid. Now, Luke tells us in his confessional that him and Madeline had agreed to $12,000 budget for this wedding. I don't know if he sent her the 12,000 all at once for her to take care of everything, or if he was sending her as she needed. I don't really know. But at some point, the budget obviously grew bigger than 12,000, and there's money still owing. And the wedding planner tells them that if this outstanding balance isn't paid in a couple of days, you're going to have to cancel your wedding. So he's kind of like looking at Madeline, like, what have you been doing with the money? She says that some of the money was going to the wedding, but she also had to use the money for rent. She gets extremely defensive because she feels like he's accusing her of mismanaging or mishandling the money. And so she gets very defensive. She gets so stressed out that she gets up and she goes into the kitchen and she gets a jar of peanut butter and she brings it back to the table across from the wedding planner and starts eating the peanut butter with her finger. And I was like, what is going on? I understand talking about money and talking about your wedding is stressing you out, but there's no need to revert to a 3-year-old. Please get a spoon or spread that on some bread or wait until the wedding planner leaves, and then you can dig into your peanut butter with your bare fingers. Anyway, so she's there eating the peanut butter. Her and Luke start arguing, of course, about the money. And the wedding planner is telling us, like, this is really embarrassing to see this. She's like caught, like, she's like a deer caught in headlights, doesn't really know what to do while this couple is fighting about the money. And when Luke left for Colombia, his father gave him a $3,000 check. What's owing on the wedding is $4,000. And he tells the wedding planner, all I have is 3,000. And I'm thinking, that's really all you have. So if your dad did not give you that check, what would you like? How would you pay for this? Like, how would you be paying for your everyday living in Colombia if your dad didn't give you this check? Because he said that all he had was this 3,000. All he had was $3,000. And I'm like, Luke, what are you talking about? So the money's going to go to the wedding, this $3,000, and what are you going to be left to live on? I didn't understand. So he tells the wedding planner, all I have is 3,000. The wedding planner says, okay, that's fine, but you're going to have to cut some things out. If all you have is 3,000, we're going to have to take some things out. And of course, Madeline doesn't want to hear that. She gets upset. And she starts accusing him of saying, why did you even ask me to marry you if you couldn't afford to marry me? That I wanted my wedding to be like a fantasy or a dream come true. Because, she's wanting a helicopter. Okay, this is what the money is going to. This is the kind of stuff that she's expecting. She's wanting a helicopter. So, let's see what else happened. They're arguing about it. She's accusing him of, oh, she also throws into his face that, you're very irresponsible because he's got these failed businesses. I don't really know who's at fault. I don't know if he's at fault for not being a little bit more careful. Like, I don't know why he didn't pay the vendors directly. I don't understand. Like, why didn't he just pay the vendors directly? I don't know if that's even possible to do that from the United States. To somehow convert your money into Colombian money and then pay the vendors directly if he didn't trust Madeline. So I don't know if he was mismanaging the money, if he lost track of. I don't know what's going on, or if she was really misusing the money, like taking the money for the wedding and spending it on other things, thinking that Luke was this endless pit of money. I don't know where the problem was. I'm thinking if they had a budget for 12,000, they should have stayed within that budget. And he did mention how American dollars go a very long way in Colombia because yeah, it goes a very long way in Colombia. So this was a lot of money being converted into Colombian money, and it's like you still don't have enough for the wedding. Like, damn, wow. And you're still needing another $4,000 to pay everything off. So that was a big fiasco. He thinks that she was misusing it. She thinks that he's just being cheap and tight with his money. I don't know where the problem lies. You can tell that this is going to be their life, that this is because she doesn't hold back. He tries to hold back. I don't know if he's doing it for the camera, and then like off camera, he's also just as volatile as she is. I don't know, but she doesn't hold back. And this is going to be their life. And it seems like the only way to get her to calm down is to spend money on her, is to buy her something or give her money. Like that's the only way that she seems to calm down from past seasons of us watching Luke and Madeline. But I don't know how it's going to work out. She is a lot to handle, but Luke believes that he can handle it. And I hope that his the hotel that he wants to build in Colombia, I really hope that it takes off the ground because he's going to need a lot of money, a lot of money to live with her peacefully. Moving on to Mano and Anthony. So they finally arrived in France, as we saw last week, but they finally arrived at Mano's parents' house. It's a very small house. Mano tells us that her parents have downgraded from the home that she grew up in. So it is a very small house. It is a very tight squeeze for all those people to be living there. Um, Anthony doesn't care. He's just happy that there's a roof over their head. Let's see what else. As soon as they get to their room, first of all, as soon as they arrived, Mano kept on talking about how tired she is. It's a very long flight, understandably, and she's so tired, she's exhausted, she just wants to go to bed. So they go up into their very tiny room, and all she wants to do is argue. I thought you were exhausted. You wanted to go to sleep. Why are you starting an argument with him? So she brings up what he had said earlier about how he feels like he is the solo parent for their son and that she's MIA when it comes to the parenting department. And so that really stuck with her. As a mother, I understand how that could really hurt her deeply, because you don't really see, compared to fathers that are not present, you don't really see a lot of mothers that are not present, especially a mom that is living with her child and is still not present. So that made her feel some kind of way, but I felt like he does have a point. But then again, this is the arrangement that they had. She was going to be the sole breadwinner, so she has to work a lot to sustain their household because they didn't want to pay for daycare. So he was going to be staying home with the child. That was the arrangement that they made. But then they're throwing this in each other's face. She's throwing it in his face that he doesn't make any money. He's throwing it in her face that you're not around enough to take care of the child. I don't understand. This is like so dysfunctional to me. So she wants to bring that back up again when they're in their room. And she's like, well, when you said this and I felt some kind of way, it really hurt my feelings. And how dare you tell me that? And so on and so forth. And he was like, well, I was just letting you know how I felt. That's just how I feel. Then she also throws in, just to make matters worse and just to, extend the argument even more, she brings up how she doesn't feel like he is treating her like a wife, how they've lost that connection as a married couple, and she blames it all on him. And he understands her because he just kept quiet. He understands her when she gets like this. When she gets this way and she wants to yell and fight, he understands her enough to keep quiet, that it's not going to help anything if he tries to defend himself because they're just going to argue even more and she's going to get even more erratic. So he was just looking at her and he was just like, okay, you just say whatever you need to say. I'm just going to listen. He didn't say anything else. The next day, I guess things were a little bit better. They told us how they apologized to each other. I'm assuming the night before, and she feels a little bit better. He feels a little bit better. Oh, y'all, but Mano is a lot. Where do they find these people? TLC, like I'm dead ass. Where do y'all find these people? Moving on to Johnny and Chloe. Y'all, this segment of Johnny and Chloe enraged me so much. There's nothing that I hate more than a grown woman. And I know that she's in her early 20s, but it irritates the hell out of me when a person who is an adult, for some reason, thinks it's so cute to act like a child. It enrages me so much because her and this little voice and these baby like childlike behavior and her, it's just annoying to me. And then to add insult to injury, it's not just that, it's not just her voice and her mannerism, it's not just that. I can deal with that, but for her to act like she doesn't know, or she's so deathly afraid of turning on a gas stove to boil an egg, I'm thinking this is just rage baiting now. Y'all put her up to this. Producers, y'all put her up to this because you know this was going to piss off the audience. You knew this was going to piss people off. So y'all put her up to this. There's no way that she is really like this, where she was so afraid to turn on a stove to boil an egg. To boil an egg. It wasn't like he expected her to turn on the stove to make this 6-course meal. It was just to boil an egg. Anyway, so he is telling us that he's very worried about Chloe because she comes from privilege. Her parents have spoiled her, and so she doesn't know how to turn on a stove and boil an egg, I guess. And so he's very worried because he's like, I'm going to be working all day. And when I come home, I want to have a meal ready for me. And I don't know if she's going to be able to handle that. No, she's not going to be able to handle that because she's going to be too busy worried about what he's doing on this boat with these female tourists in their dental floss bikinis, as she called it. So, but then again, Johnny, you got to take responsibility. You are 10 years older than her. You chose a woman who is significantly younger than you, and then you complain about her being immature and acting like a baby and being scared of everything. But you wanted to be with this person who is not that far removed from childhood. Okay. So she doesn't know what it takes or what it means to take care of a man the way that you're expecting, like her to cook and clean and have meals ready for you. Chloe knows nothing about that. Nothing about that. So he's trying to get her out of vacation mode and into housewife mode. He says that Chloe is used to buying meals, like breakfast, lunch, and dinner. She's used to just going to the restaurant or getting takeout. That's her life. So, but then, like Johnny, please do not expect her to overnight turn into June Cleaver, Susie Housemaker. That's not going to happen. It's going to take her years for her to get to where you need her to be. It's going to take years. And I hope that's okay with you. But then again, you got someone who is what? Like a couple of years ago, she was in junior high. And now you want her to be wifey. Moving on to the cat lady. It's the day of her departure. She's leaving for the UK, and her friends come over to take her cat. And when I tell you, this woman, more rage baiting, more rage baiting. She took about, I'm pretty sure, probably the whole entire day saying goodbye to her cat, and her cat could care less. Her cat could care less. Okay. Um, the friends come over. She has to give this very long, tearful goodbye. And I'm using quotation marks because I didn't see not one damn tear come out of her eye. I don't know what's going on with this woman. I don't know what's going on with the producers of this show. I don't know, but it was not one single tear came from her eye, but we wasted so much time watching her saying goodbye to her cat, Hazel. I'm pretty sure her friends thought we're going to go there, get the damn cat, and leave. They had no idea that it was going to be this long, drawn out farewell. So she finally departs for the UK, and she's obviously really not happy about living with her. I don't even know what his name is. I forgot his name. Living with her fiance and his parents, but she knows that as soon as they get their own place, her cat's going to be able to come and live with them, because her cat can't live with them now because there's other animals in the house that she assumes her cat won't be able to get along with. Okay. So when they get their own place, then Hazel can come and join them. And that's about it, y'all. It was a very nothing episode. Not much happened. And yeah, it is what it is. I don't want to take too much of your time. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. On your way out, please don't forget to rate the video. If you like this content, subscribe to my channel, and I'll definitely talk to you later.